accustomed as I am to public speaking and all that, I think that's how you're supposed to start. I just jotted down a few things this morning with my thoughts of RFDS and some of the things that go on. And I said before to some who were in here that I've been looking forward to this day for 50 years, and what I've said to some people at different times is that I've been looking forward to this day from the second day I started work. But 50 years has really flown, and of course the last 10 of it has been joining RFDS. I was in PNG when the advertisement went out in the Australian for engineers to start up the Adelaide hangar. And while I was in PNG, my brother Gary sent it up to me, so I applied for the job then, but I still had about 3 months to run on my PNG contract, so they wanted somebody straight away. So I say that's why I missed out, not because I wasn't good enough. So I missed out on that, but I came and worked when I came back, worked for Rossair as it was then, and was in 2 hangars down, and we subcontracted all of the avionics work, so I still worked for the RFDS under Rossair's banner quite a bit of the time. But even through all of that, and I'd said to the guys at RFDS, and actually Gary, my brother, was manager at the time there, that the only organisation that would pull me away from Rossair would be RFDS. And then of course the time came when Ankles left, and that's Chris Engelberger, and so there was an opening there, and I'd had a reasonable, wasn't perhaps reasonable, contact with Dennis Caddies before that time. He was also in PNG, and of course he was up in Alice Springs, and we sort of talked to each other like long lost buddies, but I hadn't had all that much to do with him. And so when Ankles went, I went and saw Dennis and pretty much walked straight into the job because I was reasonably well known. And I was very happy on the hangar floor, just working on aeroplanes using tools, but then Nick Carter left, so when he went, I really didn't want to step up to the job in some respects. In others, I suppose I did. It was a promotion. And the real attraction, to be honest, and I've written this so that I can probably use it in Adelaide, probably on Monday as well, of being a senior base engineer, the attraction wasn't the extra wages, but it was having the use of the car. And I'd still say that made a tremendous difference between being on the hangar floor and being a senior base engineer. And it probably kept me there for the 10 years too. I could have retired 12 or so months ago, and if I hadn't had the car, there's a good possibility I might have cut my losses and said, oh, I've given 9 years, I won't worry about the 10, but I didn't. Now, I've enjoyed coming up here to this. This is like, it's not they say a change is as good as a holiday. It hasn't been a holiday in the sense that there's been lots to do. We sometimes down there think John doesn't have anything much to do, but it's amazing when you're on your own how much things can build up and you've got to get work done. And John has been good in giving me sort of good handover stuff and looking after things here, and I've enjoyed coming up. One of the big things I've enjoyed is being able to interact with comms. And Jackie's not here, but when I got to senior base engineer, Jackie and I had the occasional scrap. Anyhow, she was the first one. She was the first person from comms to go to Adelaide, I think, to for the comms people to go down and meet people down there. So I was introduced to Jackie, and I said, oh, when you've got a few minutes, come into my office and we'll have a chat. And she sort of said, oh, what have I done wrong now? Anyhow, Jackie came in, and I said, no, nothing like that, I just want to have a talk to you. And we clicked. And really got on well together the whole time. And then from everybody else too, there's a few now who are relatively new, who I haven't had so much to do with, but it's always been good to come here and be able to pop upstairs and have that personal interaction with you. And it gives me a much better understanding of what you guys do up here. And my relationship, of course, with John and with the engineers in Adelaide has been number one as well. They're a good lot of blokes, all of them. I guess Craig and Neil, I've worked sort of with, or we've been in very similar backgrounds, and so I knew them, and then when they came and joined us, it was just like having friends come and work with me. And then Andrew came, and he was sort of from outside, if I can say it that way, from our group, but he's fitted in well, and it's made the task of being a senior base engineer really easy. Of course, there have been many changes over the 10 years, and I stopped and thought about it, and it's just amazing the number of changes there have been. In staff, obviously, that changes around the time as people come and people go. The workload for everybody has changed. As they talk about it being about 4% increase in flying each year. Well, they were. I don't know what the latest figures are. Will you take that over 10 years? That's a big increase in workload. The aircraft, of course, there was a King Air and two PC-12s in Adelaide when I started there, and now, of course, we've got the four, if you like, at the moment, 7 PC-12s down there. But I assume that'll change very quickly now the Darwin contract's been finalised. The facilities, all of the facilities here, Adelaide and in Alice Springs now, have all had big upgrades, and of course they're back on the books for Adelaide now to have a lot more work done there. The philosophies of RFDS have always been good, and they've changed though, I think. I don't think there's, because of the size of the organisation now, there's the family atmosphere quite that there was. Probably doesn't change much up here, and it's one reason why I like coming up here too, that there is still that family atmosphere, but in Adelaide with head office as well, it's sort of got a bit too big to be able to still have that. I just finished rereading John Flynn's biography, and sort of what he did and what he went through. And RFDS has kept that philosophy going, although the only area that differs and has changed is that John Flynn did all of the work in the name of Jesus Christ, and that was why the whole thing was set up, as it was a mission organisation, the Australian Inland Mission that John worked for and set that up. And so, but that's the only area where that has changed. Then there's the teamwork, and I've come more and more to realise the fact that every member of RFDS has a part to play, and it wouldn't operate, the RFDS wouldn't work if there wasn't that teamwork between each person. And no matter what a person does, I guess the pilot is the guy who is seen as the part of, or the visible part with the nurses of RFDS, but they couldn't operate without the administration staff, without comms, without engineers, without somebody keeping the facilities nice and tidy and clean. I mean, it all adds up and won't work without that. The one thing that has come to mind that I've seen so much of is the compassion of the crews, and I find that that's been amazing in RFDS with the way the pilots and the nurses, particularly in Adelaide. I don't have quite so much to do with the ones up here, but I'm sure you're all the same. Just put yourselves out so much for the patient who you've got to look after, and so that's been tremendous as well. But I guess the time comes when we've got to move on, and that's where I'm at the moment. I'm not going to say much here. Travel is on our itinerary for the next 5 months, heading up to eventually up to Alice Springs and then across to Brisbane in November. And then after that we'll be back home and start getting the house in order. I've sort of, with this in mind, for the last 5 years, I haven't really done a lot of maintenance on the house, so it's looking forward to that. And then from the years after that, the great nomad migration is what we'll join, and each winter hopefully head up north and get some warmer weather. So thank you everybody for your contribution. Thank you Helen for putting this on today, for the card, and also just for your friendship and help and mateship right through the times that I've been able to come up here and be with you in RFDS. So thanks very much. I've enjoyed it, and you'll always be. Thank you. Now I suppose I'm supposed to cut the cake, am I?
Hey.
And who did the beautiful cake? Was that
Oh yeah, I whipped that up.
So the bakery did do it, did they? I wondered about that, or I thought somebody's got a very, very lovely talent, yeah, in doing this. All right, so I guess that I cut this, and thank you everybody for your good wishes. I'll leave somebody else to cut it. Helen, you might like to do that.
Bring in the big guns.
You're ready, are you?
You're ready for your piece? Yeah.
I am.
Yeah, you're a bit caked up something.
And what's your name?
You.
Sorry? Was that Kirsten? Kirsten.
Hello. Hi. Yeah. Would you like to blow the candles out?
Oh, I suppose that should be done.
Oh yes.
Hi, Kirsten.
Oh, yummy cake for me.
There's always kids.
That's it, it's like okay.
4527.
And John's coming out this afternoon to have afternoon tea.
Oh, okay, thanks. He wasn't going to be back in time, obviously.
Well,
I should have thought of him to you earlier.
she's
so
having a go at it.
contact.
Oh, boy. Take her aside 5 hours to clean her up.
Well, she's already, we've just been to Ash's surgery and they gave her stamps and she
Beauty.
quickly rolled up her sleeve.
I never get stamps when I go there. You mustn't be cute enough, Lou.
No, well, that seems to be the story of my life. A head like this, he'd give me stamps. That was a lovely speech. I was very